Last week, Wade Miller made his second straight road start, and it turned into Miller time at Busch. Wade shut the Redbirds out for 7 innings on 2 hits to improve his record to 8-3 against St. Louis. Tonight, Miller plans to make some noise in his home debut here on Fox Sports Net. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Net brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros open a 3-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals. And good evening, Bill Brown and Larry Durker. The Astros and Cardinals have had a great rivalry for many, many years, and tonight it's Wade Miller against Jeff Suppan, Larry.
And Miller coming off a kind of a strange game against the Cardinals where he walked 7 guys in 7 innings but didn't give up any runs. Suppan pitched pretty well against the Astros too, but got out-pitched in that game. And yet he probably figures to be one of their more consistent starters this year.
He will give them innings if he follows true to form. The Astros are an improved club offensively through the first 13 games of the year. It's not much of a sample, but compared to the last 5 years, the Astros 9-4 with that .310 batting average and a good ERA too.
It is a small sample. It is early in the year, but it's still impressive, and it's the kind of number that would likely stand out even if you played the next 5 years after this. That this year would probably still stand out.
One big reason is Craig Biggio. He will be the leadoff man again tonight for the Houston Astros. Off to a sensational start. It's the Astros and the Redbirds next. Good homestand going. They won 3 out of 4 from Milwaukee after sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis in a 3-game series. It's 75 degrees, humidity 73%. A few little drops of rain fell during batting practice. Winds are from the south at 10 to 20 miles per hour. We've had a lot of windy games on this homestand. This could be another one with that wind affecting some fly balls. Forecast partly cloudy and a chance of showers. Now the starting lineup for Tony Lewis's Redbirds, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are 6-7. Tony Womack leads it off for them. He's the second baseman. Then it's Marlon Anderson in left field. Albert Pujols, the first baseman, followed by the cleanup man, the center fielder Jim Edmonds, with Scott Rowland on a torrid 9-game hitting streak at third base. Edgar Renteria, the shortstop. Reggie Sanders is in right field, batting 7th. Cody McKay is the catcher for pitcher Jeff Suppan. And the scouting report on Wade Miller is brought to you by Rico.
Yeah, one of the things about Wade is that his control seems to waver from time to time, but it doesn't bother him. You've got a good sense of confidence on the mound. I think he's got a little deception too, just the way he delivers the ball. I'm not sure the hitters pick it up that early, and sometimes he gets it up in the mid-90s and they almost have no chance.
Astros defensive alignment is brought to you by Honda. Wade Miller is the pitcher, and generally he'll be called upon to field his position with the sinkers that he throws. He works to Brad Osmus with Ensberg, Everett, Kent, and Bagwell on the infield. Berkman, Biggio, and Hidalgo are the outfielders. And it's the 4th of 19 meetings between the Astros and the Redbirds. Cardinals have lost 4 in a row here at Minute Maid Park, and 5 of their last 6. They're looking to set a different tone in the season series, with Tony Womack leading it off. Womack takes in a tie to a .348 leadoff man with 1 homer and 3 runs batted in.
Big key in beating the Cardinals is to get the first 2 guys out.
1-1.
You've got Womack and Anderson, both with good speed, potential base stealers. You have to worry about them when they get on. Then you got Pujols, Edmonds, and Rowland, the power of the lineup. And you don't want to have to be worrying about anything except those hitters when they come up.
Ensberg's in tight on the grass at third. Bagwell, where the cutout forms, into the grass at first base. And it's 3 balls, 1 strike. Womack is a good bunter, and he tried to bunt against the Astros in St. Louis. Has a .415 on base average. Miller pounds the strike zone to make it a full count on Tony Womack. Cardinals are potent offensively, second only to the Astros in runs scored with 89. They lead the league in slugging percentage at .571. Near the left field line, Berkman hustles over toward the corner. The ball slicing, and it's dropped by a fan. Berkman caught it on the carom. And he flips it back up to give that fan a second chance. The umpires are Gary Cederstrom, Andy Fletcher, Tim Welke, and Jim Reynolds. Redbirds just took 2 out of 3 at home from Colorado. Their homestand gave them 2 wins and 4 losses. Flick foul by Womack. Womack, a newcomer to the Redbirds this year. He's 34 years old. Started his career in the Pittsburgh organization. He is 1 for 13 against Wade Miller.
Done some different things since those Pittsburgh days.
He lines it, and Biggio over in left center field cruises over for out number 1.
Womack's now played second, where he came up with the Pirates. Center field in Arizona. Shortstop in Arizona. Pretty valuable guy with his speed.
Yes, he is. He does bring the Cardinals that element. They are a running team. They lead the league in steals with 17. Marlon Anderson has stolen a couple himself while hitting .348 with 3 bombs and 6 runs batted in. He has excellent numbers to open the season. Good movement on that pitch for strike 1. Anderson also joining the Redbirds this season, coming from Tampa Bay, where he drove in 67 a year ago. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Normally an infielder, he's been playing left field quite a bit of the time in the last week with the injury to Ray Lankford, who tested his hamstring before the game today. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Anderson. Anderson brings again a speedy left-handed hitter to the top of the order. Left-handed batters are hitting .211 against Wade Miller. In the dirt for ball 2. Wade has beaten the Cardinals in his last 5 decisions against them. And his career record against St. Louis is 8-3 with a 3.06 earned run average. He has started 15 games. The Astros have won 12 of those against St. Louis. Ties him up, a pop-up, Ensberg over. Reaching in, he snags it. Had to fight off a fan for out number 2.
I thought Ensberg was a little rude there. The guy is a lot older than him, and he just pushed him right out of the way.
Yeah, but he was probably a Cardinal fan, Dirk.
Well, then it's all right.
Kind of like that Hawaiian shirt, though. No, he's an Astro fan. Got a cap on and everything. Albert Pujols on a 4-game hitting streak has 5 homers, 13 runs batted in, a .306 average. To left center field, Biggio and Berkman. Biggio. And he caught it off the end of the bat for a 1-2-3 first for Wade Miller. The Astros come up against Jeff Suppan, no score. Cardinals went out in order in the first against Wade Miller. Now the Astros starting lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Here's the bunch that Jeff Suppan will be facing. Craig Biggio in center field, Adam Everett at shortstop, Jeff Bagwell at first base, cleanup man Jeff Kent at second base. Lance Berkman has caught fire the last 8 games, hitting .385. He's in left field. Richard Hidalgo plays right. Morgan Ensberg at third base with Brad Ausmus, the catcher for Wade Miller. And now the scouting report on Jeff Suppan is brought to you by Rico.
And he's got a pretty good fastball, even though he doesn't have a power arm. He's got some life to it. He pitches the corners pretty well. Changes speeds. Got good breaking stuff.
And he works to Craig Biggio, leading off the Astros first inning. And going for the first pitch, he fouls it for strike 1. Bidge has put together a 6-game hitting streak. He got a day of rest Sunday, and then with the off day yesterday, he's had 2 days off now on a .391 average with 2 homers and 13 runs batted in. 1 ball, 1 strike to Craig, who is really up there in on-base and slugging percentage. He scored a dozen runs. It has been a fabulous start for him.
I really think it's going to help him all year long to hit without kicking that leg up high.
The bunt rolls just foul. Cody McKay touches it in foul ground, and it's 1-2.
Bidge doesn't run quite as fast as he used to, but he gets his feet in position to get a good start out of the batter's box when he bunts towards first. And he's had quite a few hits bunting in that direction during the course of his career. But he also ought to teach Adam Everett to do that, because Biggio gets so many doubles, and what Biggio would typically do with a man on second, nobody out, is push that bunt toward first, and he's got quite a few hits that way.
Renteria comes in. Rolen cuts across, and Rolen makes the play. He's the Gold Glover at third base. That's out number 1. And the Cardinals defensive alignment is brought to you by Honda. Roland has won 6 Gold Gloves at third. Edgar Renteria, also a Gold Glover, is alongside him. See 5 Gold Gloves for Roland. Renteria at shortstop. Womack and Pujols on the right side of the infield. McKay and Suppan, the battery mates. Anderson, Edmonds, and Sanders in the outfield. And now it's Adam Everett. Adam may be a Gold Glover himself very soon. He's put together a 3-game hitting streak. 6 hits in his last 12 at-bats. Suppan misses, and it's ball 1.
Well, if he's going to get that Gold Glove, he'll probably have to get it away from the guy that's playing short right now, Edgar Renteria.
That's going to be a struggle. But Adam, I think, is capable of it.
Well, I think he is. But Renteria, even though it seems like he's been around for a long time, is still pretty young.
Yes, he is.
He came up very young.
The Gold Glove is very difficult to win, especially for the first time.
You might also say the Gold Glove is hard to win if you're not a good hitter.
That's also true.
What I found is that a lot of times I'd be handed the ballot in a clubhouse somewhere on the road and say they want to come pick it up after the game, and you're busy. You don't have time to even look at statistics or consider all the possibilities.
Lined, and that's a hit to left field.
So what you end up doing is you're just going on what you can remember. And usually the first guy that comes to mind at any position is the guy that's the best hitter. He stayed with that off-speed pitch real well, hit it off the end of the bat. But now the Astros have some speed aboard. They don't have a fast team, but Everett can run, and he can steal. He's stolen 2 and hasn't been caught.
Jeff Bagwell's the batter. He's had good career numbers against the right-hander he's facing right now. Ball 1. Cody McKay snapped up out of that crouch. Everett took some liberties there at first. 375 for Bagwell. 4 homers and 13 runs batted in.
Everett had a big lead. Suppan held the ball. Sometimes if the pitcher holds the ball long enough, the runner tightens up a bit.
It's 1 ball, 1 strike. As Larry mentioned, Suppan pitched well against the Astros Tuesday, but his bound opponent, Roger Clemens, was better. In 7 innings, he allowed 6 hits and 2 runs, didn't walk anybody, fanned 7. He trailed 2-1 on homers by Everett and Berkman, and the Astros won it 5-3. It's 1-2. Suppan divided his season, as you see, 104 pitches last time out. Last year he was with Pittsburgh and then traded to Boston in a stretch drive deal. He won 13 and lost 11.
He pitched real well with the Pirates, and then the Red Sox were hoping he would come over and pitch just as well for them, but he didn't. He was 3-4 with a 5.57 in the American League.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He's the type of pitcher who is consistently over 200 innings per season. Only he and Mike Messina, among right-handers, have put together 5 straight seasons of 200 innings or more. Bagwell pops it up. Pujols backs over into foul territory for the 2nd out.
Bagwell waited on a changeup and then waited too long.
Last year, Suppan overall was 13 and 11, 31 starts, 3 complete games, a couple of shutouts, Larry.
He's just got that selection that he can keep you off balance. He's the kind of pitcher that probably has to have command of 3 different pitches to accomplish that, because he doesn't throw hard enough to make the hitters start the bat early. But he's always been highly regarded. He was a number 3 round draft pick coming out of school, and then the 3rd player chosen in the expansion draft by Arizona. He's got a nice, smooth delivery and good control.
Jeff Kent takes a fastball. There's strike 1 to a .275 hitting second baseman with 2 homers and 11 runs batted in. Suppan, in 25 of his 31 starts last year, went at least 6 innings. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, and the way the Cardinals are geared to score runs, If he could do that again this season, have a decent ERA, he could have a nice season in the victory column.
He really could. This is an ideal team for him because he's still young enough to get a career going in a winning way.
It's 2 balls and a strike.
His lifetime record is 62.77, ERA 4.91, so he doesn't have real good numbers. But he's 29 years old, and if he's healthy, he may improve those numbers considerably over the next few years.
One and 3 lifetime against the Astros. Rolled foul by Kent, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros have been an explosive bunch with the bats. The last couple of games, they've combined for 15 extra base hits. They rolled to a 6-1 win on Sunday that seemed a lot more emphatic than that because they had 16 hits in the game. Wind is blowing out to left.
One reason Everett's not running.
Kent shoots one past the diving second, Sacker Womack. Everett will go to second, and Reggie Sanders got to the ball in good shape. A single for Kent makes it runners at first and second, and 2 outs for Lance Berkman.
Now, Sanders not only got to it in good shape, he's got a strong throwing arm. I thought that Everett might be able to make it to third base on this base hit, and he might have been able to make it, but with 2 outs in the inning, if you have any doubt in your mind at all, you're taught to stay at second base because you're already in scoring position.
And Lance Berkman can take care of that. He's driven in 12 runs with 3 homers and a .279 average, 3 for 10 with 2 outs and men in scoring position.
12 RBIs in the last 8 games.
Yeah, he went hitless in that opening series against the Giants here, but he's making up for it quickly. Ball 1 to Berkman, who hit a home run against Suppan when they faced each other in St. Louis a few days ago.
But that wind blowing out to left is probably good for Lance because he's one of the left-handed hitters that has the power to hit it out the other way.
It's 1-1. Berkman had .364 lifetime against this right-hander with a couple of long balls. Hopes to be able to put one a long way out there. He is 4 for 11 against Jeff. But the Astros would like just a single to keep it going. Richard Hidalgo is on deck.
Cardinals have a real pull shift on for Lance.
It's 2-1.
I think it seems sort of odd that they would pitch him away and play him to pull, but that's what they're doing.
Renteria up the middle. Womack on the grass. Suppan misses, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Big pitch coming here. Dave Duncan is the pitching coach, and this rotation has been revamped. Suppan joining the crew, as well as Chris Carpenter.
Duncan has been with LaRusso a long time. Probably read each other's minds.
They probably can. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Suppan tries to hit the win column for the first time. This is the opener of a 3-game series. Andy Pettit threw in the bullpen before the game today, and the Astros have decided not to bring him off the disabled list this weekend in Colorado. Instead, he will go to Kissimmee, Florida, and make a rehab start there, and then go back into the rotation, probably in Pittsburgh if things go well. And he said he felt good.
And the nice thing about having a start to warm up before getting into the big league action again is that he can throw within himself, as they say, just not get the big adrenaline rush and try to throw harder than you really can.
Exactly. Runner's going, it's fouled away.
It is a tendency when you're coming off an injury, if your arm feels good, you haven't pitched in a while, to have a little fun and see how hard you can throw it. And I don't think that's what they want him to do, and I think if you asked him, that's not what he wants to do. But sometimes your body just
feels that way, and I don't think it will in a rehab start at Kissimmee.
He wants very much to pitch in Colorado, but he understands the forecast is for possible snow Friday night. Berkman lines to left. A hit. And here comes a 1-0 Astros lead as Everett scores on a Berkman 2-out, 2-strike single. His 13th run batted in.
It was almost like he was trying to hit to the opposite field the whole at bat. But he fouled 2 balls off down the left side and then got the base hit in that direction. The pitch was over the middle of the plate, maybe a little bit toward the inside part of the plate. And maybe he was thinking, well, if I hit it on the ground, there's a lot of open space on the left side. And if I hit it good in the air with the wind blowing that way, it could go out. Maybe he just hit it that way by accident, but it looked like he was trying to go that way.
And now Richard Hidalgo bats. With runners at first and second and 2 outs. Hidalgo takes ball 1 at .431. He's third in batting average. He has 4 homers, 19 runs batted in, second in runs batted in the National League to Scott Rowland.
It's amazing you could have 19 RBIs on April 20th and still not be in the league lead.
Yeah. Pick off at second. Can't back in. Hidalgo's on a 3-game hitting streak right now. And with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, he is 8 for 11 with 1 homer and 11 runs batted in. That's a difficult pace to sustain for very long. Right fielder Sanders backs up. And on a backpedaling play, he catches it on the warning track. The Astros get a run on 3 hits at strand 2. They lead 1-0. The Lance Berkman 2-out single has provided Houston with a 1-0 lead after 1. Coming up later on our Dodge Grab Life by the Horns feature, we'll be asking Wade Miller about the best piece of advice he has received. Stay tuned to see his answer. By the way, he acquired the nickname Whitey from teammate Randy Knorr, catcher with the Astros at the time, who thought he looked like Whitey Ford.
Better check his eyesight.
That's what I was thinking. Well, that's where he got the nickname. And here's Jim Edmonds leading it off in the second inning. At .326, he has 2 homers and 9 runs batted in.
Randy Knorr looked like a crash test dummy.
That was his nickname, Crash. Jim Edmonds, well, as much as we call it Wade Miller Park in Milwaukee, might as well call it Edmonds Minute Maid Park here in Houston. He has the best batting average and the most hits of any Astros opponent in this ballpark since it opened. It's 2 balls, no strikes to Edmonds. Very good numbers to open the season, but something seems to happen when he gets in this location. The lights come on, and he's a career .387 hitter here. 2-1. 7 homers and 19 RBIs here in 32 games.
More than a few of those home runs have gone to left field and left center, too.
It's 3 balls and a strike to Edmonds. Biggio shading to left center field. Yeah, he wears out that area of the ballpark here. Strike makes it 3-2 now with Rowland on deck. Tough lineup the Cardinals bring against the pitcher. They're second in the league in on-base average. Edmonds strikes out. First strikeout for Miller.
It's impressive to come from 3-1 behind in the count to strike that guy out.
Yes, it is.
Let's see how he did it. Mostly fastball. Have a hanging curve. High fastball. Change up away.
That is excellent work. Wade walked 7 in that last start against the Cardinals, throwing 121 pitches. Only 61 were strikes. Scott Rowland Shoots one foul. He's on a 9-game hitting streak, hitting .405 in those games. .377 for the season. 7 homers and a league-leading 23 runs batted in.
Came up with the Phillies and had some problems with his lower back there. Had some problems after that with management. And so the deal was struck, and the Cardinals had to give up quite a bit to get him. And, of course, you would expect that. He's an all-star caliber player.
Miller comes up and in, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Rolen just turned 29, 4 for 20 in his career against Miller. Had 28 homers last year. 3 balls and a strike. Rolen hit the first home run in this ballpark when he was with the Phillies in 2000. And he hit it off Octavio Dotel, who was starting that game.
Got him on a slider. Rolen didn't pick up the spin, obviously. He thought he was swinging at a fastball. And then the pitch took a left turn on him.
Looked like one of those Frisbee sliders, Dirk. He elevated it some.
Like that pitch you used to throw.
Right. Edgar Renteria at 302. 1 homer and 5 runs batted in. And your Greens. There's ball 1.
I remember you throwing the ball around when we went up to Field of Dreams.
That's right.
In Iowa.
That's
a good changeup. You threw with all your might, and the ball never got there.
That's it. Miller pounds the strike zone again, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Renteria did not start the game against Wade in St. Louis. He is 0 for 16 lifetime against Whitey. Well, you're right about it being difficult to wrest the Gold Glove from him, though. He's 28 right now, seemingly right there at the peak of his game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He has won the last 2 Gold Gloves in the National League.
I like this guy. The minute I saw him, he came up. He was about 20 or 21 years old. Always has been a good fielder. At that time, he was mostly an opposite field hitter. As Miller bounces that breaking ball, as he has gotten a little older and a little smarter, he's learned to turn on the ball and hit with power. Now you have to pitch him in and out. Back when he first came up, you could pound him with fastballs up on the inner part of the plate, and he'd hit fly balls and pop up to the right side.
3-2 to Renteria, who hit .330 last year and drove in 100. He also stole 34 bases. Adam Everett fields the 2-hopper and makes it 6 straight for Miller to open the game with the Astros leading 1-0. It's 1-0. The Astros now have Morgan Ensberg leading it off in the home 2nd inning. They got their run with 3 singles in the first. Lance Berkman drew the RBI base hit to left. This one a pop-up by Ensberg will go back out of play for Cody McKay, and there's strike 1 for Jeff Suppan.
Well, the Cardinals had their advanced scout out for the last series. Ensberg was being pounded inside, hitting a lot of pop flies and fly balls to right. Suppan went right to that spot on the first pitch. He's now thrown 28 pitches already. The Astros have been great about working the starting pitchers.
Yes, they have. 1 ball, 1 strike to Morgan.
And because of that, they've drawn a lot of walks, and they've got the best on-base percentage of any team in the league right now.
Two balls and a strike. Brad Ausmus on deck. Wade Miller due up 3rd in the inning. The Astros are 8-2 against the clubs in their division so far. Ensberg puts it in the air to right, shallow. Sanders coming in. 1 out as our Jack-in-the-Box standings come your way next. The Astros at 9-4 have a game-and-a-half lead over Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Chicago trails by 2. St. Louis is 6-7, while Milwaukee is a respectable 6-8 after something like 10 games in a row to open the season without a day off. They finally got one. How about that beautiful sky?
Very moody, isn't it?
Yes. And Osmus takes strike one from Jeff Suppan. At 318, he has 1 homer and 4 runs batted in. Again, he's off to a nice start against the Cardinals based on what he did in St. Louis. Backhanded by Rowland. 2 outs. He is a shortstop playing third base. Really very coordinated.
A linebacker playing third base like a shortstop.
Well, that's a full package to be that size and be able to move around that well with that kind of hand-eye coordination. Wade Miller next with ball 1. He has laid down 3 sacrifice bunts this season as an RBI, looking for his first hit.
He's been a pretty decent hitter.
It's 2 balls and no strikes. Speaking of hitters, Dontrell Willis of Florida is on the mound tonight. We'll have to check what he's doing. He was 6 for 6 this season coming into that game.
Nobody can get him out. Nobody can hit him either.
Yeah, with an ERA of 0. Bouncer goes foul. 2 balls and a strike.
Probably have a pretty good chance of player of the month if you keep that up. Miller hit 3 home runs in the first year here at this ballpark. The only 3 he's hit during his career. Most pitchers don't hit any home runs per year.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, Dontrell Willis already has one of those too. Doing everything well. And so are the Florida Marlins, it seems, anyway. Cubs are beating Pittsburgh 8-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Carlos Zambrano on the mound. Corey Patterson hit his 3rd homer. Todd Walker number 1. And Alex Gonzalez hit number 2 off Ryan Vogelsong. Popped up on the right side. Womack takes care of the 3rd out. A 1-2-3 second for Suppan keeps it at 1-0 Houston through 2.
Astros lead at 1-0 as the play goes to the bottom of the 2nd. Tonight on the Southwest Sports Report, you're going to see a report on the Texans and Cowboy draft plans. What will the Rockets have to do now, besides winning a game or 2? And a wrap-up of our game versus the Cardinals. That's tonight, the Southwest Sports Report, after our game here on Fox Sports Net with John Radigan and Randy McIlvoy.
All right, we look forward to that, Greg. Thank you. Here is Reggie Sanders leading it off now in the 3rd inning. Astros on top 1-0. Sanders has a pretty good start to the year with 4 homers and 13 runs batted in already. Comes out of the gate swinging, and there's strike 1 for Miller. He has whipped 17 times, but he brings some power to the plate and a .306 batting average.
And he's had pretty much the same MO since he came up with the Reds. A lot of strikeouts and a lot of life in his bat when he hits it.
Miller bounces that one. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's got the kind of tools that a scout really loves to see. Quick bat, foot speed, strong throwing arm.
He drives this ball a long way to left center. Biggio watches it go. Home run. Very impressive swing of the bat by Reggie Sanders. Ties this game, number 5 of the year for Sanders, giving him 14 runs batted in. That was a no-doubter to the left of the Conoco pump. And the Redbirds,
first home run that Wade's given up this year.
Yeah, in his 16th inning. Number 5 for Sanders, number 28 for the Cardinals. They lead the National League in home runs.
A good short compact swing. He's got enough bat speed that he doesn't really have to try to swing hard. The ball just jumps off his bat.
Just like that, this game is tied for Cody McKay. McKay looks at ball 1. Looking for his first hit. He is 0 for 9.
Trying to get an extra left-handed bat in there against Miller, but Miller's been tough on left-handed hitters this year.
Sure has. And he has been tough to beat in this ballpark. 27-12 in his career at Minute Maid Park. Lined into center. Biggio over. It's a hit. And the Cardinals put something together at the bottom of the order. Jeff Suppan coming up next. McKay has his first Cardinal hit. And there's his dad to greet him at first base, the coach.
Nice going, son.
Jeff Suppan does not have a sacrifice bunt yet this year. He's 0 for 3. The Astros are looking for him to try one here. Ginsburg charging from third, and the bunt goes to the first base side. Miller fields it, tossing to Kent. Sacrifice for Suppan, gets McKay to second, 1 out. We go to Greg Lucas.
Thanks a lot, Brownie. We have not mentioned it so far this year, but as is always the case, we have the email available if you'd like to write us. You just go to the foxsports.com website. Up at the top where it says keyword, type in Astros booth, and we will read them all, and we'll answer them all one way or the other, either on the air or in return mail. That'll be the same as it's been all in the past years, so feel free to give us a comment or a question.
Greg is very good about answering those. Tony Womack lined to center opening the game. There's strike one. Miller goes with a breaking ball on Womack, who was traded this spring from Boston for right-handed reliever Matt Duff, and quickly moved into the leadoff spot at second base. That crowds him in. It's 1-1. As you know, Fernando Vina played second the last several years for the Cardinals. He's now in Detroit. Bo Hart moved into the picture some last year when Vina was hurt. But Womack holds that post down right now, and he's 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It's 1-2.
That time Osmus was calling for the pitch away, and Miller came in, so he wants to talk to him about it to see if he threw it in on purpose or by mistake. You can see Brad moving out. Then he has to reach back across to the backhand side. Sometimes that'll cost you getting the call from the umpire, because the umpire is expecting the pitch to be thrown where the catcher is calling for it.
And just as you sometimes might get a reward for hitting the mitt, even though it might be right there at the edge of the strike zone, sometimes you don't get a reward, even though you're in the strike zone, by missing the mitt by that much. Fly ball, and into right center, Richard Hidalgo makes the catch. McKay draws a throw. It's perfect.
It's not exactly that the Cardinals need a scouting report on Richard Hidalgo. Everyone in the league knows he can do that. And when you can do it, it's really, it's fun to be able to throw that way, and the crowd ooh and ah. And, you know, McKay wasn't going to go anywhere.
No. But that's all right, because the fans got to see him show off his arm.
Yeah, but you know, he could have just lobbed the ball back into the infield and gotten the same result.
Yeah. Marlon Anderson fouled out to third. He whacks one at shallow center field. Biggio in for the grab. Sanders ties it with a homer, his 5th of the year, and the Cardinals now have drawn even at 1 in the third. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you by Aflac, by Honda, by Ricoh, and by GMC Truck. Beautiful night here. Nice breeze coming through the stands. After a warm day in Houston, these fans are into this ball game. It's 1-1. The Astros have 3 hits. The Cardinals have 2. And at the bottom of the third, top of the order due up for Houston: Biggio, Everett, and Bagwell against Jeff Suppan. Biggio grounded to third in the first inning. Time called by Craig, who is 21 hits away from 2,500 for his career. Ball 1 from Jeff Suppan. The Astros really boxed the Cardinals around in that series in St. Louis, outscoring them 26-9. Changeup makes it 1 ball, 1 strike. Biggio's 13 RBIs tie him for the lead among Major League center fielders, with Milton Bradley of Los Angeles.
Bradley's not a leadoff hitter.
No, he's not. He's been hitting third. Grounded just foul. Reynolds with a call. And watch it. They're still scrambling on a warning track. And they really fought that one to the point of cinders back home. Looked like they were doing the crazy crab down there. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
They'll trade him and put him up in the euchre seats.
Pujols tied with Ted Williams on the all-time doubles list. And he is right there on the active list, as you see. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. So he has really been jump-starting this Houston offense, which has been so effective. The New Williams club off to a 9-4 start, which ties the club record for the best mark after 13 games of the season. The dribbler grabbed by McKay while fair, and he zips a high throw to a stretching Pujols.
But that was close. I thought the ball had gone back over the line.
And he's bare-handed it. Let's see.
And the umpire had the best view of all.
Gary Cederstrom with the fair ball call. Adam Everett got the rally started in the first inning with a line single to left. Hope he got in for the pregame show. A nice interview with Adam and Greg, talking about his improved offensive performance. And he's been working with the former relief pitcher Bruce Sutter during the winters. Smacks this one into right field, and he's 2 for 2.
Well, Sutter is a great hitting coach, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He wasn't such a great hitting coach when he was pitching, though.
No. But they are neighbors in the Atlanta, Georgia area, where they've been working together the last few years. And Adam, of course, credited his hitting coaches at New Orleans and right here in Houston, Harry Spillman. Gary Gaetti, the hitting coach in New Orleans.
He's been much more aggressive with the bat the last couple of years.
Sure
It seemed
has.
like he was a little tentative when he first came up and trying to wait for a good pitch to hit, and oftentimes getting behind in the count that way.
Jeff Bagwell fouled out earlier. This one goes foul for strike 1 on Jeff.
He's getting Suppan in some fast times, 1.1 to the plate on the slide step, and as high as 1.53 with a normal delivery. So if Everett were able to pick out one of those high leg kick deliveries, he could probably steal second.
He has both of the Astros stolen bases this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Kent on deck.
One of the problems with using a slide step is that sometimes you don't get as much stuff on the ball, so you compromise a little on the pitch to the hitter. And a lot of times the managers will call for the slide step when the pitcher is behind in the count, because they figure that the other team knows you have to throw a strike and can't pitch out, so they might be more likely to try to steal on a 2-1 count or a 3-1 count.
Bagwell flares
Look at that
one,
one.
shallow right. He has a hit. Everett goes first to third. The throw from Sanders, not in time.
Good thing it was Everett. I hope he didn't hurt his ankle.
Went in pretty hard, and he's down on 1 knee.
I'm not sure anyone else on the team could have made it to third with that throw from Sanders.
Sanders' throw is similar to Richard Hidalgo's to third base.
The one thing that stands out in this play is that Adam Everett really made a good read. But a lot of times base runners will freeze for a moment to make sure that nobody has a chance to catch it. And if you do that, you've got to stop at second.
So it's first and third and 1 out for Jeff Kent. Bagwell gets a hit to right. Kent got a hit to right in the first inning, a hard grounder. And he has plenty of room to ram one through the right side again here with the Cardinals Moving to second baseman Womack up the middle and a double play depth. Kent has bounced into 5 double plays.
If he could just tap the ball to the right side, there wouldn't be anything the Cardinals could do about it.
He hammers it the other way. Foul.
Thinking more about 3 RBIs. Ball stayed inside. If that had gone out over the plate just a little bit, it might have ended up in the Crawford boxes.
Jeff Suppan pitched a good game against the Astros last year, but he hasn't beaten them except the one time. There's 1 ball, 1 strike. He beat Kirk Saarloos at Pittsburgh with a fine ball game, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. He's from Oklahoma City, went to high school in Southern California. Kent looks at it, and it's 2 balls and a strike to Jeff.
Probably exactly the pitch he wanted to throw. Probably expected to have it called strike.
Well, Dontrell Willis is 0 for 2, but his Florida Marlins are leading at Philadelphia 2-1 after 6. So his 6 for 6 opening at the plate has ended. 3 balls and strike. I think he actually had 7 straight hits going back to his final at bat of last year.
Unless he gave up a run, shame on him.
Yeah, so no more ERA of 0. No, it's an unearned run, so his ERA is still 0 through 6 innings. As Vicente Padilla pitches for the Phillies against him. 2-1 Florida after 6 in Philadelphia. Up the right field line and out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, we've seen a lot of well-pitched, low-scoring games over the years between the Astros and the Redbirds. Both have tons of sluggers in their lineups this year, so it'll be interesting to see how the season series goes. It's been a hard-hitting one so far through the first 3 games.
Astros have really brought their team ERA down quite a bit in the last week.
Strike call. Kent caught looking for out number 2. Freezes there for a moment at home plate on the Gary Cedarstrom call. Now he says something to Gary.
There's a backdoor slider. It looked like a good pitch, but you can't always tell with the camera angles being what they are. Kay caught it in such a way that made it appear that the ball was coming back into the strike zone. His first strikeout comes at an opportune moment.
Yes, it does. Lance Berkman worked the count full, then he lined an RBI single to left in the first inning. Richard Hidalgo's on deck in a 1-1 game. That's ball 1. Brandon Duckworth will be the Astros starter Friday night in Colorado. As Andy Pettitte goes to Florida for a rehab assignment. Brandon there on your left with the jacket on. We'll get the call at Coors Field Friday night. The weather forecast is not good for that game. 2 balls, no strikes, and that was a factor with not pitching Pettitte.
And it should be. I had to pitch a night game at Candlestick one time coming off the disabled list, and that didn't do my arm any good at all.
Yeah, I could see that. That is one difficult place to pitch, and the Astros now are loaded with a 12-man pitching staff rather than 11 for that series. Womack with a shift on, didn't have far to go for out number 3. It's no runs, a couple of hits, 2 men left for the Astros, who have stranded 4. It's 1-1 through 3.
We're tied at 1-1 here on Fox Sports Net. Don't forget there's still plenty of season left, and you've got a chance to take part with Astros season tickets still available. The number to call is 1-800-ASTROS-2 or Astros.com for further information. You can get them for as little as $710. Yet, Astros tickets, a lot of season left to be played.
You bet there is. There's strike 1 to Albert Pujols. It's a 1-1 game. Fourth inning underway. Pujols went for the first pitch and fly to left center in the first. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros on their next road trip go to Colorado and Pittsburgh. This big 3-game series give them a chance to have a very nice record on the homestand. 2-1.
The big guy is quite a hitter. He's been a good hitter from the moment he emerged on the big league scene, probably a year earlier than he would have otherwise, but I think he got a shot due to an injury and went right on and played the whole year and hit 300 and has been doing that ever since. And he hits with power, and he can hit the breaking stuff and the off-speed stuff as well as the fastball, and he hits the ball all over the ballpark, so you can't bunch the defense on it.
It's 3-1. On Sunday, he came up with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th, and the Cardinals trailing by 3 with 2 outs. And he hit a fly ball that was caught at the wall in right field. This one goes to right field. Richard Hidalgo racing back toward the wall at the warning track. That's an illustration of what you were talking about.
It is. He doesn't try to pull the ball. He doesn't try to hit a home run. He's just so strong that he hits home runs anyway. And anytime he hits a ball on that trajectory, even if it's to right field, you worry.
And the ball carries very well in this ballpark to right field for the right-handed power hitters. Jim Edmonds struck out in the 2nd inning. Ball 1 to Edmonds. Wade Miller has a 35-11 career record against the clubs in the NL Central Division. Kent Bagwell, a routine out number 2. So Scott Rowland, and this is a terrible trio for a pitcher. Pujols, Edmonds, and Rowland in 1 inning.
And the guy behind them, Renteria, had 100 RBIs last year.
One tough lineup. Rowland had 104. Strike. Oh, that changeup.
Yeah, that's really good changeup. Not only did it have speed deception, but it had a little movement and it landed right on the corner at the knees.
Now the fastball comes in.
That looked like it might have been a tad low. I think the hardest pitch to call for an umpire is that low strike, because the catcher kind of blocks the view.
And the breaking ball. What an inning. Pujols, Edmonds, and Rowland in order. And in the middle of the 4th inning, it's the Cardinals 1, the Astros 1. St. Louis 1, Houston 1, going to the bottom of the 4th inning right after our Aflac trivia question. All right, Greg Lucas, put your thinking cap on. Who was the last NL third baseman other than Scott Rowland to win a Gold Glove? He has won the last 5.
Ty Trainer?
No.
It wasn't that far back.
A little more recent than that, Dirk. Richard Hidalgo leads it off, home 4th inning. He fly to right in the first. 8 strike 1 call.
Well, maybe it was Cammy. I'll say Cammy.
All right.
He was one of those guys, you were talking about it earlier, never got recognized till late.
Yeah, and Caminetti, so that's a pretty good guess.
Because Rowland's won a lot, and Cammy might have still been winning.
1 ball, 1 strike. It just seems to be the type of award that takes a long time to build up that reputation with the voters, who are, by the way, the managers and coaches, as Larry said.
The one guy that didn't take long to get recognition was Ozzie Smith.
Yeah.
You get a few guys like that as long as they're in the league, they're going to get it because they're just clearly the best. Brooks Robinson was that way at third base for the Orioles.
That was automatic. Jim Cott, automatic for the pitcher. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Richard Hidalgo absolutely sizzling in the early going, but he hasn't had any hits in his career off Suppan. 0 for 15. Strike 3. Suppan gets strikeout number 2. Well, he began to hit his stride on Jeff Kent getting a call in the last inning. Now he gets a call here. Another borderline pitch. So Suppan got tough after the singles by Everett and Bagwell. Had runners at first and third and one out. Morgan Ensberg hit a fly ball to right in the second. The big curve works for strike one. Suppan has been dogged by the home run ball in his career. He allowed 36 homers in 2000 with Kansas City.
Giving up 4 already this year.
Yeah. 2 in that game against the Astros. Low pitch, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals made a roster move today. They sent down reliever Jason Simontachi to the minor leagues. Line drive, and it's scooped on the short hop by Rowland, who turns it into out number 2. And outfielder Colin Porter is with the Cardinals tonight. Our Aflac trivia answer now will tell us the last third baseman to win a Gold Glove in the National League before Scott Rowland. Is it Ken Caminetti?
Probably not. Yeah, I figured there was too much of a separation. I wouldn't have guessed him.
Brad Ausmus's the batter with 2 outs. Foul ball stings the catcher McKay, and it's 0-1 to Brad, who grounded out to third in the second inning.
You might have been able to get that on a multiple choice.
Sometimes we need the multiple choices.
We need multiple choices a lot, actually.
Quite often. Jim Edmonds well over into right center for Brad. It's 1-1 with Wade Miller on deck. And a tight ball game tonight. Cincinnati leads Atlanta 3-2 after 7 in Cincinnati. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Marcus Giles hit his second home run of the year off Jose Acevedo, who's still in there, against John Thompson. And both pitchers have gone 7 innings. Cincinnati leading it 3-2 over the Braves. Reds are getting some good pitching. Liner, and Pujols is up to snare it. In the 4th inning, the Astros go down 1-2-3. Moving to the 5th, it's 1-1.
We're tied at 1-1. This, of course, Astros baseball with the Cardinals. You know, last year was a season to remember, a year filled with unbelievable moments. But beginning May 22nd, the best is yet to come as the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week returns with the first of 18 weeks of what promises to be one of the greatest seasons in recent memory. It all begins May 22nd on Fox. And along that line, baseball attendance up 4,000 per game so far this year. So it's already starting out as an exciting season for a lot of fans.
Absolutely. This game right here is a good one. 1-1. Edgar Renteria leading it off. Wade Miller throws ball 1. He's retired 6 in a row. Sanders homered in the 3rd to tie it. Then McKay singled. And Miller has not allowed a base runner since then, and has only allowed those 2 base runners for the night. Sanders is on deck now. Biggio in center field moves in a few steps. And there's 1 out. You know, that increased attendance is interesting. And, of course, as was pointed out in the article this morning, partly due to a couple of new ballparks, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Petco Park in San Diego. But also, I think, Larry, there's just been a real resurgence in baseball interest because of all the moves over the winter. The Yankees, Boston, Houston, Chicago Cubs made, and other teams. Just the anticipation of this season.
I think there's a cyclical nature to attendance of various sports. In fact, I think the designated hitter came on because of the popularity of the NFL in the late 60s, early 70s. And I think there was a spike in the basketball attendance within the last decade, maybe going back a little further than that, and that has waned. And baseball's kind of come and gone in terms of attendance moving up and down with respect to other sports.
Jeff Kent in for a slow roller to get Sanders. 2 outs. Cody McKay will be next. Well, there's been certainly tremendous interest in the race in the AL East here in the very early stages with the nationally televised game from Fenway Park. That interesting series between the Yankees and Red Sox so early in the year. Fans
Baseball
were
in
ready.
Japan.
Yeah. That's right. Cody McKay with a single to center field as one of the 2 Cardinal hits. The Astros have 5 hits.
So there's been a lot of talk about what can we do to help the pitcher for about the last 10 years. Strike with a changeup. It seems like the power hitters were having their way and have been for about 15 years, and most of the new parks were smaller, which increased home run totals.
Bagwell tosses to Miller. It's a 1-2-3 fifth. That's 9 straight retired by Wade and the Astros in a 1-1 game. St. Louis 1 and Houston 1. Another great ball game tonight here for you on Fox Sports Net Southwest. What's on tap with the Astros, brought to you by Busch Beer, moves you ahead to tomorrow night. It's an earlier start time, 6:05 Central Time for the game, involving Matt Morris and Tim Redding. Tim looking for his first win of the year. Matt is 2-1. Matt's 6-8 lifetime against the Astros. He will be facing them for the first time this year, and Tim is 2-2 against the Cardinals. That's 6:05 tomorrow night, right here. Now Wade Miller leads it off in the home 5th inning. Suppan delivers, and it's strike 1.
Matt Morris is an excellent pitcher. The fact that the Astros have beaten him that many times is more a tribute to them than a knock on him.
Sure is. Pujols to his right, the toss back to Suppan. 1 out. Now they beat him 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th early last year on a homer by Jeff Kent in a very memorable ball game. Our Texas Ford dealers league leaders show you that with Craig Biggio coming up 0 for 2, he is among the league leaders. And in runs batted in, he is right up there at 13 behind Roland, Hidalgo, and Bonds, tied with Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah, he's on a list that includes 4 other guys that hit in the middle of the lineup, and he's a leadoff hitter.
That's something.
But, you know, that's another one of those statistics that will probably change over time. He's always been a good RBI man for a leadoff hitter, but I don't think he's ever had more than 80 RBIs for a whole season. They do add up, though.
Yes,
not
they
ready
do.
to pass Jose Cruz.
He's in second on the all-time Astros RBI list now. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Cardinals know all about his hitting. He has more hits against St. Louis than any other active player. 227 career hits against the Redbirds.
Still remember the first series we played in St. Louis when Biggio was a rookie, and he had a good series and drove in some runs and stole some bases, and Whitey Herzog was quoted in the paper as saying, who is this guy Biggio? I mean, I don't think he's exactly a Hall of Famer. What's wrong with our pitching? As it turned out, Biggio was for real, and I'm sure Whitey realizes that now.
Might remind you of the Gene Mauch remark about Joe Morgan when Mauch was managing the Phillies and Morgan was a rookie with the Astros and had a game-winning hit against Philadelphia. And said they were beaten by a little leaguer or something to that effect. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Check swing on appeal there and a full count. Sends Suppan back for another pitch with Adam Everett on deck. Astros have 5 hits, all of them singles, while the Cardinals have ridden the Sanders long ball to a 1-1 tie. Cardinals go on to Milwaukee on the next leg of their road trip. They are only 1-6 against the clubs in the National League Central Division, having lost 3 of 4 to the Brewers at home, and then having been swept by the Astros. Tony La Russa's club wants to try to start fighting back here at 6-7. Blocked by Roland. He pounces on it. Accurate throw. 2 outs.
Didn't back off on that smash, did he?
No. Got his body right in front of it.
Smothered it softly the way a catcher would do with a pitch in the dirt. So it lands nearby. Got plenty of arm to recover from a bobble.
It is kind of reminiscent of the way some catchers soften their body when they're blocking a pitch in the dirt. Just kind of used his body as a shield to soften that whole situation and let the ball drop right down at his feet so he could grab it.
Yeah, if you jackknife a little bit at the waist, it will absorb the blow more easily. And of course, he had the glove down there and was hoping that he could catch it with the glove. And with that kind of approach, you're going to get it one way or the other.
Adam Everett's 2 for 2, showing bunt, and he pulled the bat back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, a lot of hitters, when they're thinking bunt, won't be able to do that. They won't be able to pull that bat out of the way and get a ball called.
You just have to do it all the time.
2 balls and a strike.
A lot of old-time baseball fans think that the bunt should be easy to get down. And it is easier by and large these days than it was with all the AstroTurf fields. But it's still not easy unless you do it a lot. And practicing and batting practice isn't much help.
That's true. The kind of velocity you see in BP doesn't really simulate.
Anyone can bunt that kind of thing.
Yeah. 3 balls and a strike. Well, the good bunters will get out and practice bunting. And they'll put a fair amount of time into that practice.
Well, Richie Ashburn, who was also nicknamed Whitey, just like Wade Miller, said that he would bunt 100 balls every day in spring training.
Wow.
Brett Butler told me he did the same exact thing.
Ball 4, and Everett continues to reach base every single time in this game with 2 hits and a walk now. Number 2 hitter who came into the night with a 382 on base average. There's the pitch breakdown
He's
by
up over 400 now. And Biggio's up over 400 too. And that created a lot of RBI opportunities for Bagwell, Kent, and Berkman.
Yes, it has.
If they're going to get those RBIs in this inning, they're going to have to do it without making another out. But they've had a lot of 2-out rallies this year.
Bagwell single to right in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. You saw the 84 pitch count of Jeff Suppan, 27 of those in the 1st inning. Hard hit to right field. Sanders backing on it at the wall. He snags it, slams into the padding, and holds on. Fine catch by Sanders. And in the 5th inning, it's no runs, no hits, a runner stranded. Sanders ranges deep into right field to rob Bagwell and keep the game tied at 1.
Moves to the top of the 6th, still tied at 1. Tom Seaver is tonight's higher standards player, brought to you by Bank of America, because on this day in 1967, as a rookie, Tom got his first major league win. The New York beat Chicago 6-1. Tom Terrific goes 7 2/3, allowing 8 hits and just 1 run on this day. Actually, on this day, it was when Weeghman Park opened, which is now known as Wrigley Field.
Very good. Jeff Suppan, the batter. He leads it off, and he's at 2-0 in the count.
That was a whale of a ballpark, wasn't it, Greg?
That was it. That was the Chicago Whales of the Federal League.
Suppan has good career batting average. He is ahead here. 3 balls and no strikes, with 9 straight having been retired by Wade Miller. Suppan's a career .253 hitter. And it's 3-1, so both pitchers face the opposing pitcher leading off an inning. Suppan got Miller in the 5th. Little bouncer, Adam Everett in. Makes it look easy.
Well, we don't need it tonight, although there was a threat. But after this week's series of the Cardinals, Astros head out of town for a 6-game road trip, and when they return Friday, April 30, they'll battle the Reds, and the first 15,000 adults receive the Astros golf umbrella, courtesy of HEB. 1-877-9-ASTROS, or log on to astros.com for tickets. And Brownie, there's a story to our model, huh?
Miss Janey, she's fighting it with that wind there. Looks like she's trying to land a big one. Tony Womack bunts. Barehanded, Ensberg throws. Safe.
Well, when he gets the bunt in that spot, there's really no way to throw him out. Ensberg was playing shallow. He got to it quickly and made an accurate throw, but Womack just too fast.
Close call at first for Andy Fletcher. And now the bunt single gives the Cardinals their 3rd hit of the night. Gives them a base stealer who is 6 for 6 for Marlon Anderson, who's 0 for 2. None of the first 6 Cardinal hitters had reached base until Womack. 0 for 12 for the top 6 in the order without anybody reaching until now. Ginsburg's in on the grass. Yeah, Miss Janey was attired as she usually is in her black Astros tie, very stylish. That Astros tie found its way onto the shirt of Darren Sutton doing Milwaukee Brewers television this weekend. He forgot to bring his tie, and he had to send out for an emergency tie, so he actually wore an Astros tie on a Milwaukee Brewers telecast.
He would have been severely chastised by Fox if he wasn't wearing a tie.
So that very tie was seen in Milwaukee, Miss Janey, this weekend. Nice of her to give it up for him.
I would say that that umbrella will probably be inadequate in Denver.
Yeah, right.
Be nice for a spring shower around here, though.
Yes, it would. Yeah, we almost had one this afternoon. Good breeze blowing through the park right now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals are the running Redbirds again with 17 steals and 20 attempts. Womack is perfect. And they have some base stealers who have had excellent career high base stealing percentages. 1-1 is not considered to be a great running count, though. Miller checks it. Still, there's always the surprise element, Dirk.
Yeah, there is. I don't think 1-1's too bad a count. With the power hitters they have coming up, it's hard to put your pitcher behind in the count against the number 2 hitter with a man on base.
Miller really working on him.
That's really what you can do as a pitcher is throw over there some and try to have a fairly quick delivery to home plate, and then just hope your catcher can throw the guy out. You have to put most of your attention on getting the hitter out.
There goes, pitch out. Osmus with the throw high. Safe at second. Adam Ever did everything he could do. Womack is 7 for 7 in steals.
They had him dead to rights if they were able to put if Osmus had made a more accurate throw.
Adam tried to slap a tag on him while he was airborne.
It's got to be frustrating for Brad too, because he knows that he could have thrown him out.
Brad now 0 for 11 in throwing out base runners. The count 2-1. Anderson fouls it. Brad was out for some early throwing work a few days ago. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, in a game like this one, a stolen base can count for a lot. On the breaking ball, Anderson strikes out.
It's a great job by Miller. Now he has the base open as he faces Pujols. Right over the top curveball. That one really had some bite.
Wade wants another baseball before facing Albert Pujols. He's 0 for 2. Fly ball to center. Fly ball to right. Pujols has finished second in the most valuable player balloting 2 years in a row.
I wonder what Wade didn't like about that baseball. He just threw a great pitch with it.
Yeah. Strike to Pujols. Pujols has been increasing his walks and cutting down on his strikeouts. Last year he had 79 walks and 65 strikeouts.
Yeah, each year he's gotten better at making contact and also better at drawing the free pass.
Getting more and more respect. 1 ball, 1 strike. This year he's drawn 11 walks and he has 1 strikeout and 51 at bats. Speedy Womack, the runner, with 2 outs. Looks like he pulled off that slider.
Yes, he did. But that's when you have that good spin where the hitter can't pick it up and it looks like a fastball. If that pitch were a fastball, he would have either stayed straight or tailed in toward Pujols a little bit, and that's what he thought he was swinging at.
74 pitches thrown by Miller. Pujols gets underneath it. It's a fair ball.
Tried to get it by him up and in and couldn't do it.
And Pujols rips a line drive 2-run homer to give the Cardinals a 3-1 lead.
Had him set up for it pretty well with that slider. At least he thought he did.
He rips a 1-2 pitch for home run number 6 of the season, giving him 15 runs batted in, and the Cardinals lead it. They have wrapped that one right around the pole.
See where this pitch is. Maybe just a little bit over the plate. Not much. He had it pretty close to where he wanted it. Pujols had it exactly where he wanted it.
3-1 Redbirds. Jim Edmonds rolls one to Jeff Kent. And the Redbirds have the lead with 2 runs, 2 hits, a bunt, and a blast. They lead it 3-1.
Before the game tonight, noted golfer John Daly went to the mound and tossed out the ceremonial first pitch. That reminds us the Shell Houston Open is coming, and tonight we'll have a Prevost show starting at 10:30 or right after the Southwest Sports Report. John Radigan and Randy McElvoy will have interviews with last year's champ Fred Couples, a look at the 58-year history of the event, and a whole lot more tonight on Fox Sports Net.
Jeff Kent goes for the first pitch, and Scott Rowland throws him out. 1 out in the home 6th inning. The Redbirds, now leading at 3-1, have gone to a defensive move. They have replaced their left fielder Marlon Anderson, who was 0 for 3. And Japanese-born So Taguchi is the new left fielder, batting second. So Taguchi. And Lance Berkman follows. He has the Astros RBI on a single with 2 outs in the first inning. He's 1 for 2. Now Jeff Suppan in the driver's seat. The infield shift is on. Renteria goes over from shortstop to the first base side of second. Suppan delivers a strike. Richard Hidalgo on deck.
Brandon Becky is warming up for the Astros in the bullpen should they get down to the pitcher's spot and want a pinch hit.
Suppan makes it a 1-1 count. He's at 87 pitches for the game now. Cardinal bullpen has an ERA of 6.01 in the early going. Suppan didn't get the inside call, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Fastball clocked at 90 miles per hour for the veteran.
One thing that I've noticed, Bill, is that most of the pitchers in the league don't lose that much velocity in 100 pitches or so. And some actually gain velocity, but when they lose something, it's more often command.
Ball 4.
Start walking people, or he leaves the pitches over the middle of the plate. And that is the thing a manager would like to be able to see to evaluate his pitcher more than anything. And that is the one thing as a manager you cannot see. If you're standing down in a hole looking sideways, you can't tell if a ball's on the corner or right down the middle. Sometimes the catcher sits off the corner and the pitcher throws it to him and it looks like a strike. And when you go up and look at the video, it's not a strike. You just can't tell from down there.
Richard Hidalgo's 0 for 2. Ball 1. Nobody warming up currently in the Redbirds bullpen. Pujols comes over to say something to his pitcher.
Lance has done some base stealing in the past. He hasn't tried to this year.
Shortstop Renteria is underneath. 2 outs.
It'll be very easy to defend not pushing the running game any, the way the power hitting game has been going.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see a guy throwing out stealing and then have the hitter hit a home run.
Now Suppan has 2 outs in the inning. Morgan Ensberg's the batter. He's 0 for 2. Fly ball to right and a grounder to third. Brad Ausmus on deck. Good cut, and he fouls it for strike 1. It's Montreal 2 and the New York Mets 1 after 8 at Shea Stadium. Montreal trying to survive with a minimum of run support. Jose Vidro hit his 2nd homer of the year in the 8th inning off David Weathers.
Now Julian Taveras warming up to the Cardinals.
1 ball, 1 strike. Zach Day started for Montreal. Al Leiter for New York. They both went 7 innings and allowed 1 run. Cubs wallop Pittsburgh 9-1. Cardinals and Cubs will be getting together later on this month. And they play a lot of games against each other in the first half of the season. Foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, in the last 104 games between these two clubs, the Astros have won 54 and the Cardinals have claimed 50.
Now the Cardinals have Ray King, a left-hander, throwing as well. Ensberg and Ausmus would probably have to bat before the Astros would think about pinch hitting.
Popped up on the right side. Pujols coming over. And in the 6th inning, it's quiet for the Astros. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded through 6. 3-1. Redbirds. Houston Astros baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you by Pennzoil, by Dodge, and by Southwest Airlines. Cardinals lead the Astros 3-1. Wade Miller pitching to Scott Rowland. And the 7th inning is underway with ball 1. Rowland has whiffed in both of his at-bats tonight. Miller having allowed just 4 hits, 2 of them home runs to Sanders and Pujols. Ball's behind 2-0. 29,625 is a paid attendance tonight at Minute Maid Park. Now it's 3 balls, no strikes. The batting average against Wade Miller coming into this game was 136. 3rd lowest in the major leagues. Roger Clemens second at 108. 3-1. Renteria and Sanders to follow. Rowland slices a line drive headed for the right field corner, and it goes off the wall. Hidalgo plays it, fires into second. Rowland running hard, beats the throw. A double for Rowland, giving him a 10-game hitting streak. That's his first double of the year.
We'll go along with 7 home runs and a triple.
Yeah.
Rowland runs pretty well. Hidalgo can throw some runners out from that spot in right field.
Yes, he can. Now Jeff Bagwell's even with the bag at first. Morgan Ensberg creeping in at third. Maybe a bunt coming from Renteria, who's 0 for 2. Strike 1.
Bagwell used to play in close in this situation, figuring that the hitter would try to hit the other way to advance the runner. And when Jeff could throw the ball better, he was able to nail some runners at third base on a tag play on grounders to first by playing shallow like that.
Renteria showing bunt, takes a high breaking ball. That makes the count 1-1. Sanders on deck as the Cardinals play for some insurance with their bullpen busy. Right-hander Julian Tavares and lefty Steve Klein are cranking it in the bullpen.
And Mike Gallo now is throwing in the Astros bullpen to give them a left-handed pitcher ready in case the Cardinals want to hit with a left-handed hitter.
It looks like Cal Eldred is warming up for St. Louis.
Everybody's warming up.
Yeah, it's that time of night, isn't it?
It really exactly is that time of night when you're in the 7th inning, because sometimes you've gone past the inning where certain long relievers would pitch, so they get up to do their throwing. And they're not pitching to come in the game, they're just pitching to practice. And then you've also got situations like this with runners where guys are out there throwing to get in the game. Sometimes a guy will be up there just doing some work, and he'll have to get off the mound so somebody can warm up to come in the game.
That's Mike Lincoln for the Cardinals instead of Eldred. 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4. 2 on, nobody out for St. Louis. And we go to Greg Lucas.
Those of you who haven't been with us throughout the entire game perhaps are not totally aware of the situation with Andy Pettit. Before the game, he threw hard in the bullpen. It was determined prior to that he wasn't going to start in Colorado Friday, but we asked whether he was encouraged by his session and when he found out about not starting in Colorado.
Well, they kind of determined that before I went out there and threw today. I guess they heard a forecast in Colorado and a chance of snow, and you know, when I came in today, basically they told me, I mean, let's don't even do it. It would be stupid. So, you know, whatever they want me to do, I'm going to do. I'm going to try to take care of myself and get ready. I think the plan is maybe to go down to Florida and go down there where I can do a set routine and get me up and down about 4 or 5 times maybe, and throw a certain amount of pitches, and then hopefully be ready after that.
I think it's got to be emphasized, and it was by Jerry Hunsaker prior to the game on the pregame show, that he's fine. They just don't want to take any chances at this point, particularly with the weather situation that they do expect in Colorado. And of course, doesn't hurt that the ballpark in Colorado is not the greatest to have to come back and pitch your first game off of the DL in.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, Greg, because even if the weather was perfect, you'd still be pitching at Coors Field, where many good pitchers have taken many hard beatings, and after not pitching for a while, you'd like for him to have a first start back where he can get 6 or 7 innings in and have some success to build on. And that's probably the last place in the league you'd want to use a pitcher in that kind of situation. It's not a confidence building ballpark.
Jimmy Williams has made the move to the bullpen, bringing in right-hander Brandon Backey. Wade Miller leaving with 2 men on, nobody out. Backey 1-0 with a 4.76 ERA for 5 2/3 innings with no walks, 5 strikeouts, a batting average of 190 against the young man from Galveston. Dirk?
He's shown us pretty good sinking fastball and slider, both of which are ground ball pitches. He's actually had good strikeout stuff too, but in this situation, you'd like to get a double play if possible. First hitter Sanders could hit into a double play. He's a fast runner, but he can hit the ball sharply, and he's a right-handed hitter, so you can double him up. But the next guy, McKay, even though he's a left-handed hitter, doesn't run as fast, and he would be a candidate as well. You're at the end of the order, so even though it's first and second and nobody out, you would like to think that if your pitcher makes good pitches, you can get through this inning without allowing a run.
Wade Miller leaves after allowing 5 hits, 3 runs in 6 innings plus, walking 1, fanning 4. The runners on base are his responsibility as Backey works to Sanders. Sanders homered in the 3rd, grounded out in the 5th. Backey gets strike 1 on a curve.
I didn't think Wade had his best stuff tonight. He threw the ball pretty well and had reasonably good command, and he issued his first walk in the 7th inning when he walked 7 in 7 innings in his last start. But he just made one pitch to Pujols that either Pujols was looking for or was just talented enough to hit. It wasn't a real bad pitch, but that's the difference in this game right now.
A bunt. Backey to Bagwell. Advances the runners, and a sacrifice for Sanders. Gets rolling to third, and Renteria to second. One out. He squared around late. Cody McKay with the Astros infielders coming in. 1 for 2 in this game. This is a big run the Astros are trying to cut off, trailing 3-1. Backey got his first win as an Astro Saturday against Milwaukee. He was in relief of starter Brandon Duckworth, who did not go 5 innings. He was on a pitch count, so Backey came in with a 7-3 lead in the 5th inning. Gave up 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 2/3, and was a winner.
Ray Langford has come out to pinch hit for Suppan. Got a left-handed hitter there. And that's why Gallo is continuing to stay ready. This is a situation where they could conceivably squeeze.
In the dirt for ball 1.
Usually when you're trying to sniff out a squeeze, you look at the hitter, because if you know what his normal mannerisms are, and you see him touching the top of his hat or tapping the outside corner with his bat or doing something that looks like it could be a sign and something he doesn't normally do, then that might be the answer. Most teams make the hitter answer to make sure he's got it.
Pitch out. 2-0. Sometimes you'll see a squeeze right after a pitch out.
It's a good count for it. I mean, if you have a good RBI hitter up there with a 2-0 count, you probably want to let him take a hack at it, because he's got a chance to really do some damage. But with the lesser hitter, you might want to just try to get 1 run.
Cody McKay was not in the major leagues last year. He was at AAA Indianapolis. Had just 3 major league at-bats with Oakland in 2002 prior to this season. Two balls and a strike. Brandon Backey was drafted as a second baseman by Tampa Bay in the 18th round in '98. Then when he went off to pro ball, they converted him to outfielder. And he's only been pitching since 2001. Three balls and a strike.
A good arm for a second baseman, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah, he said even though he moved to the outfield, he played on the infield sometimes. He'd just kind of show up every day and ask where he was supposed to be going that day. He had pitched in high school at Ball High School in Galveston. Ball 4. McKay takes the walk, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. And pinch hitter Ray Langford will come up.
Well, it looked like he was trying to be careful there, pitching with the base open at first, but there's no base open now, and a more experienced hitter in the batter's box, so that could come back to haunt him.
Ray Langford was out working out on the bases this afternoon, trying to see if he was all right to run from that leg muscle problem he had in St. Louis. Now it's a double switch. Jose Vizcaíno coming in for Jimmy Williams. Morgan Ensberg made the last out in the 6th inning. We'll tell you about this double switch. 3-1 St. Louis right after this.
Hey fans, make sure you catch the Central Division action next weekend, April 30th through May 3rd, as the Astros take on the Cincinnati Reds. On Saturday night at 6:05, all fans in attendance will receive a free Astros cap courtesy of Fox Sports Net. Great tickets still available for the entire series, so call 1-877-9-ASTROS or log on to Astros.com and root for the good guys.
The wheels are spinning right here, Greg. We have Jose Vizcaino coming in a double switch to play third base and bat ninth. Into the 7th spot with Morgan Ensberg leaving the game is another reliever lefty Mike Gallo. And meanwhile, the Cardinals have pulled Ray Langford back, and they're going with pinch hitter Bo Hart, a right-handed batter. Gallo in 2 games has an ERA of 0 for 2 2/3 innings. With 4 strikeouts and 1 walk. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bagwell in tight at first. And ball 1 comes up and into Hart. Hart was a star as a rookie last year. He is 2 for 6 this season, 1 for 2 as a pinch hitter. He really took over at second base. He faded toward the end of the year and didn't make their club out of spring training. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the one thing that is encouraging looking at his hitting numbers is the fact that he doesn't walk very much. And when you're facing a guy with the bases loaded, you would really prefer him to be a free swinger.
Swings of that one, comes up empty for a 1-2 count on Bo Hart. 27 years old from Creswell, Oregon. He went to Gonzaga University. Hit .277 in his rookie year with 296 at bats. And he fouls it from Gallo. Gallo pitched Saturday night in the Milwaukee game. The Astros winning that one 14-5. He went 1/3 of an inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs.
He hit 91 miles an hour on each of his last 3 pitches. That's a little harder than I thought he could throw.
Yeah. And like Hart, he started the year AAA. Vizcaino knocks it down. The Cardinals score to make it 4-1. It's going to be a hit for Hart, it appears, and a 4-1 lead for the Redbirds. Ball hit sharply. We'll see what the ruling is on it. Cardinals lead it 4-1.
Well, they went to the breaking ball, and it was hit sharply, but you could see that Vizcaino had a shot at it, and it was hit hard enough that had he fielded it cleanly, it probably could have made a double play.
It's ruled an error. And Hart should get credit for an RBI on that.
Because you can't assume a double play. So.
Right. Tony Womack looks at it, and it's ball 1. Four to 1 St. Louis. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yes, it was an RBI for Hart, the official scorer has ruled, on the error by Vizcaino. So Taguchi's on deck. Womack reaches for it, comes up empty. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gallo was recalled from New Orleans on the 13th of this month, just a week ago. Jared Fernandez sent back to New Orleans. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Renteria's the runner at third. It's McKay on at second. And Bo Hart at first base.
Womack, of course, would be very hard to double up.
Oh, almost hit him. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
So Womack is a guy that doesn't walk that often, but he's got a chance here. It's the last thing that Gallo wants to do.
Jams him, a little roller. Tough play here. No play. And it's 5-1 St. Louis on a check swing.
Had the effect of a perfect bunt.
Just rolled partially up the third base line, as you'll see. He gets an RBI single. Womack has a bunt single and another infield hit. He's 2 for 4. It's RBI number 4 of the season for him, bringing up Taguchi. First at bat of the night for So Taguchi, hitting .286 with 1 RBI. That's strike 1.
A good defensive outfielder. Not quite the hitter of his former teammate with the Onyx Blue Wave in Japan, Ichiro.
Ichiro's some kind of performer. No balls and 2 strikes. Astros fans will get a chance to see the Seattle Mariners on television anyway when we go up there in June. And the Anaheim Angels and Texas Rangers are headed for Minute Maid Park in interleague play.
Anaheim's loaded up.
Yep. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gallo trying to get out of bases loaded trouble here in the 7th inning. Cardinals have 2 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to lead by 4. One and 2 as that foul ball screams back into the crowd with Albert Pujols on deck.
Yeah, now Chad Harville is warming up for the Astros.
If Taguchi reaches, probably Harville comes in to face Pujols. Flared into the crowd. Still a ball and 2 strikes. 19 meetings between these 2 clubs this season. This is number 4. Cardinals are trying to square their overall record since this ballpark opened here at Minute Maid Park to 17-17 with a win tonight. Gallo gets a strikeout on Taguchi. 2 outs. And Jimmy Williams is going to the bullpen. Here's that strikeout pitch.
The fastball away. The Astros can wiggle out of this. 4 runs down with 3 times left to come up against the Cardinals bullpen. They might be able to come back and win this game anyway.
5-1 Redbirds. Back in a moment. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Houston Astros and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Houston Astros. Bases loaded predicament for right-hander Chad Harville, who had a good debut with the Astros. That came on Saturday. He's a hard thrower, and there's what he did in that first game against Milwaukee Saturday. 1 hitless inning.
Gonna have to come right in here and throw strikes.
Against the menacing slugger Albert Pujols, who ripped a 2-run line drive homer around the left field foul pole in the 6th inning to break a 1-1 tie.
Took long to get out of here, did it?
No, it didn't. Gone in a flash for number 6 of the year. Foul back, and there's strike 1. That one coming in at 95 miles per hour from the hard-throwing 27-year-old Chad Harville from Selmer, Tennessee. He went to the University of Memphis, and the Astros had him targeted as their first-round draft choice in 1997 until Lance Berkman was still on the board, so they took Lance. And Harville went in the 2nd round to Oakland, so they just traded with Oakland for Kirk Saarloos to get him. 4 balls, 2 strikes. They like his power arm. He's had some injuries. They think those are behind him now.
It's interesting how teams will follow a guy they had interest in as an amateur and weren't able to draft. I think the same thing happened with Suppan and the Cardinals.
Pujols goes up the ladder. That ball foul. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Well, a lot of hitters wouldn't be able to foul that pitch. They swung at it.
He just barely fouled it. I thought for a moment that he had it by him.
Yeah, at first it appeared that way. Milwaukee's leading Arizona 4-2 there in the bottom of the 8th at Miller Park. Fouls it. Still no balls and 2 strikes.
It's an example of what you can get away with if you can throw the ball 95 miles an hour. He threw a hanging slider right up over the middle of the plate to one of the best hitters in baseball, and Pujols did not have a good swing at it.
Pujols goes for another high pitch, pops it up. Osmus back near the on-deck circle, up against the screen. He got it. But the Cardinals got 2 runs on 2 hits. There was an error. They leave 3, and they're in front 5-1 in the 7th.
The fans are all fired up because we got college baseball coming up this weekend on Fox Sports Net. The #1 ranked Texas Longhorns will host the number 16 Nebraska Cornhuskers in a Big 12 baseball showdown. That will be coming up this week. Of course, last week, Nebraska first baseman Curtis Ledbetter was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. He only hit .607. And J.P. Howell of Texas was named the Big 12 Pitcher of the Week. Larry Durker and I will be on hand for that one as we see 2 top 20 teams go head-to-head Saturday at 3.
We have seen some good college baseball this year.
Mike Lincoln comes out of the Cardinal bullpen with a 5-1 lead. He is 2-1. Threw very well in spring training, but the Astros gave him a little bit of a rough time in St. Louis. He allowed 3 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned in 1 1/3 inning, and took the loss in an Astros 10-5 come from behind win. He came in with a 5-4 lead in the 7th inning, and the Astros rallied against him. And there were 3 men left on base after he departed, and all of them scored. So he gets a fresh shot tonight with that 5-1 lead from Tony La Russa.
Got a pretty good slider we saw him with the Pirates, and when he had that pitch working, he was tough. When he didn't, he was in trouble.
Now the Astros down by 4, look to rally with Brad Osmus leading it off. Jose Vizcaino to bat second, then Craig Biggio due up third. Cardinal bullpen has had its struggles in the early going. There's strike 1 on a Lincoln fastball at 92 miles per hour. Lincoln already is appearing for the 8th time this year. This is the 14th game for the Redbirds. Batting average against him is .219. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Isringhausen is the Cardinal closer. Lincoln worked a scoreless 8th inning both Saturday and Sunday against Colorado, giving up just 1 hit. Fields the comebacker from Osmus. And a high throw to Pujols, no problem, 1 out. On Sunday, he threw just 12 pitches and got very good results. Lincoln has been one of the hot hands coming from spring training for the Redbirds. He was with the Pirates last year. Signed as a free agent. His ERA in spring training 0.82. Jose Vizcaino faces him now with Craig Biggio on deck. Jose at .077 has 1 hit and 13 at bats. It's a double. And there's ball 1 to Jose. He rolls over on a curveball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Lincoln's 29 years old from Citrus Heights, California, and the University of Tennessee. On the 60-day DL last year, still got in 36 appearances with the Buccos. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He had a weird, freaky injury in spring training. He was jogging and stepped on an errant golf ball. There was a golf course next to the Pirates facility. Landed on his shoulder and wound up on the 60-day DL. Probably never had that injury, Dirk.
That's one of the few.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Shortstop Renteria position right there. Vizcaino retired, 2 down. Our game summary is brought to you by GMC Truck. The Astros have only 5 singles. The Cardinals have a couple of long balls. Pujols with a 2-run shot. Sanders a solo homer. The Astros have not had a hit since the 3rd. Greg Biggio is 0 for 3. 3 groundouts tonight for him. Cardinals are trying to snap his 6-game hitting streak. It's ball 1. That pitch upstairs, as you saw the catcher McKay hold his mitt down lower. Adam Everett's on deck. Lincoln runs the count to 2 balls, no strikes. Well, the Montreal Expos have scored more than 3 runs once in a game. They made 2 runs work tonight, beating the Mets 2-1. Biggio to right field, backs up Sanders. In the 7th inning, the Astros go down in order, still hitless since the 3rd. They trailed 5-1. 5-1, St. Louis leads Houston. Time now for our Grab Life by the Horns feature. We ask Wade Miller about the best piece of advice he has received.
Just to take one start at a time. I think, you know, once you go out there, if you pitch good, doesn't matter how you did the last time out, you know, go out there and pitch your next start. Doesn't matter how bad you went either. You know, you have another start ahead of you, so look forward to that one.
Grab Life by the Horns is brought to you by Dodge, where we grab life by the horns every day. 5-1 St. Louis. Cardinals come up now in the 8th inning with Jim Edmonds against Chad Harville. Edmonds looks at ball 1. He is 0 for 3 in this game. Wade Miller tonight in 6 innings allowed 5 hits, 5 runs with 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Brandon Backey went 1/3 of an inning, allowed no hits, no runs with a walk. Strike call. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Mike Gallo worked a 1/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and no runs with a strikeout. Chad Harville works to his 2nd batter. 2 balls and a strike. The trade, Chad Harville for Kirk Saarloos, sent Kirk to the Oakland A's AAA club, Sacramento, where he is starting. And the Astros picked up a power arm for their bullpen. It's 3 balls and a strike. Jerry Hunziker said the Astros actually had representatives who were in the Harville home in Savannah, Tennessee, talking with him the night before the draft about taking him with their first pick. He was going to be the guy. Edmonds takes a walk.
That's been his biggest problem. Control. He's got a great arm. And he's got the ability to spin the ball, but it doesn't do you much good if you don't throw strikes.
Last year he had 21 games with Oakland, walking 17 in 21 innings. Scott Rowland doubled and scored in the 7th inning. Strike 1 to Rowland as Harville chews off the outside corner. Rowland started that 2-run rally with a double to right field. Harville misses low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Edmonds has got enough speed to steal a base, and Harville's just about average time coming to the plate, but I don't think Edmonds is thinking about stealing bases too much at this stage of his career, especially at this stage of the season.
1-2. The Redbirds have some speedy players at the top of their lineup now. Edmonds had just 1 stolen base all of last year in 4 attempts. Two balls and 2 strikes. It might be a long way from the Redbirds of the mid-80s, but they can run effectively.
They've got more speed than the Astros do, and I think their offense and fielding will be fine. The question is the pitching.
Popped up. Vizcaíno comes back in a little bit now. Wynn taking it. He moved a lot underneath that pop-up for out number 1. The Astros' upcoming schedule is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Tomorrow it's Matt Morris and Tim Redding. Remember the earlier start time of 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Net. Pre-game show at 5:30, and then Thursday night at 7. Jason Marquis and Roy Oswalt. And on to Colorado to play the Rockies. We're on the Astros television network Friday night. Andy Pettit will be headed for Florida this weekend as Tim Redding takes his start tomorrow night here. Edgar Renteria with the runner going, takes the pitch, the throw there early, and the tag by Kent guns him down. Edmonds caught stealing from 2 to 4, and Osmus gets his first caught stealing of the year.
Well, maybe that'll get him going. I was catching Harville in 1-2-5 to 1-3-5. This is a hit and run for sure. You could tell that Edmonds was just jogging out first, looking back toward home plate. And if you're stealing a base, you don't run that way.
Lined over Jeff Kent into right field, so our buddy Jim DeShays, well, his theory is holding up again right after a caught stealing. The next guy reaches. It's
almost
amazing.
Every time.
It is uncanny how often that happens. Greg, isn't it weird?
It is. There's another example. I'm trying to think of what it is. It always happens. Oh well, it's the old basketball. You're telling how good a free throw shooter is, and he always misses. I mean, there's several of those in sports.
The broadcaster's jinx.
Yeah.
Reggie Sanders fouls it. There's strike one. He's had an interesting night with a home run and a sac bunt, figuring into 2 of the scoring innings. Redbirds lead at 5-1. Nobody warming up right now in their bullpen. The Astros have Everett, Bagwell, and Kent due up in the home 8. Harville had pitched 3 times for the Oakland A's before he was traded for Kirk Saarloos. Oakland wanted to send him down to AAA, but he's out of options. So he refused to agree to be assigned to AAA. They designated him for assignment, which meant they had 10 days to move him, and then moved him onto the Astros for Saarloos. 1 ball and 1 strike. He got his first major league win at Texas against the Rangers mid-September last year, and then he picked up his first major league save also against the Rangers 10 days later. Over shortstop, it loops into left center field for a single. Berkman comes up with it, a hit for Reggie Sanders, his second of the night. Moves Renteria to second. Cody McKay will bat.
I think this was probably the most damaging thing in that 7th inning was the Cardinals having runners at second and third, and McKay was up there. The infield was in, and Mackey walked him. That gave them a chance to pinch hit. Hart eventually got a hit, and then it turned it over to the top of the lineup, and they scored a couple of runs.
Roller to Bagwell, and he goes to first for the 3rd out. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left for St. Louis. Cardinals leading at 5-1 in the middle of the 8th. The 6th, 2 and the 7th have taken a 5-1 lead. Here's our higher standards replay now, brought to you by Bank of America. Wade Miller on the man, and this one hooked almost around the left field foul pole. Albert Pujols with a homer, number 6 of the year. That was the one that snapped the 1-1 tie in the 6th inning after a bunt single by Womack. Mike Lincoln had a 1-2-3 7th inning. He faces Adam Everett, who hasn't made an out tonight. 2 singles and a walk. Strike 1. Adams a .282 career hitter against the Cardinals. The Astros have a right-hander warming up in their pen. Roland takes care of the first out here in the 8th. Jeff Bagwell follows. Jeff 1 for 3, a single to right in the 3rd inning. Left-hander Steve Klein is loosening for the Redbirds in their pen. Ricky Stone for the Astros. Klein probably loosening for Lance Berkman. His ball 1 to Bagwell. These Astros Cardinals games are usually thick with strategy.
In this inning, the pitcher was hitting 6, so he's 5 hitters away now. And if the Astros get to that point, they'll have a chance to get into contention, either get close or tie or go ahead. They have to have somebody ready. But since the Cardinals will be coming up in the 9th inning, if that does happen, I don't know if it would be Ricky Stone. Perhaps if they're still a couple runs behind. But if it gets tied up, it'll probably be somebody else.
3 balls, 1 strike. Ben Sheets of Milwaukee is 3-0. We got win number 3 tonight with the 4th save of the year from closer Dan Kolb as Milwaukee won it over Arizona 4-2. A shot by the pitcher, and Bagwell is on with a single, his 2nd hit of the night.
First hit for the Astros in a long time.
The 3rd inning single by Bagwell was the last time the Astros got a hit.
The nice thing about this Astros lineup is they can get runs in a hurry. Just about everyone can hit the ball out of the park.
That was 5 hitless innings strung together by the Redbird pitching staff. Bagwell breaking that string, and Jeff Kent comes up 1 for 3. Strike to Kent. Now the Astros have 2 pitchers warming up.
You got Dan Maselli throwing too, I think.
You're right. Lance Berkman's on deck. One ball, 1 strike. Elmer descends, the loser for Arizona, as Milwaukee won it in Milwaukee. Foul back by Kent. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeff. Florida Marlins beat the Philadelphia Phillies 3-1. Florida began the night with a 1.94 team ERA.
The Expos had a bonanza on offense. 3 runs.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Dontrell Willis is 3-0 and his ERA remains 0. 6 2/3 innings tonight. He gave up 1 unearned run. He did not, however, get a hit. Armando Benitez got his 7th save. Vicente Padilla was the loser. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Marlins have begun the season about the way they ended it last year.
Raider Jack's got him going.
He really does. Superb pitching almost every single game.
He did just about the same thing to us in 1999. Took over the Reds mid-season, and they chased us all the way to the last day of the year.
Yeah, that's right.
Finished 1 game behind us.
Relentless pursuers that year. Now a 3 ball 2 strike count for Mike Lincoln. His first major league organization was Minnesota. Rolling towards legs and into left field. A hot shot by Kent. It never came up, and it's an error on Roland.
First error of the year for the Gold Glove third baseman, and I think it did stay down on him. It was hit sharply. He anticipated a hop. There was no hop, and it went right through his legs. Well, the error that the Astros made in the 7th inning hurt them as the Cardinals scored a couple of times. So now the Astros are going to try to turn that around to their own advantage.
Well, Roland has made some excellent plays tonight up until this one. Snagging those balls in the short hop. Reaction play, blocking that one. And pouncing to get Biggio. Now Tony La Russa is coming out to the home plate umpire, Gary Cederstrom. So with Berkman batting, he has the lefty Klein warmed up and apparently will want a double switch. Bringing in Klein and a position player at the same time to flip-flop them in the lineup. Cardinals 5, Astros 1. Back in a moment.
Astros.com, because it's the #1 site for live game pitch-by-pitch coverage and game day audio. Astros.com for everything Astros. And by the way, those of you who have emailed me, I will be answering them. We had over 130 today, and we'll get to them. We are having a little bit of a problem answering them tonight from this location for some reason. We'll check that out. But I will answer them in the next couple of days, and you'll get your questions answered. Back to Brown.
Greg is very faithful at giving you those answers. Well, it's a double switch now. Colin Porter, the former Astro, came off the bench and went into right field, replacing Reggie Sanders. Porter will be batting 9th in the double switch. Steve Klein goes into Sanders' #7 position in the lineup. He comes in to turn Berkman around. And Klein this year in 7 games has a 1.80 ERA. In 5 innings, hasn't walked anybody. He's fanned 2. A low 176 batting average against him. Berkman in his career against Klein is 4 for 6. And he's 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk in this game tonight. Ball 1 from Klein.
But normally when you double switch, you're planning on the pitcher that you bring in pitching more than just to a hitter or two. But Isringhausen, their closer, is now warming up, and it's the bottom of the 8th. So if they didn't double switch and we're going to use Isringhausen anyway, they wouldn't have to double switch.
It's true.
They could just, and of course, then you have the hitter you want leading off.
1 ball, 1 strike. Berkman with those great numbers against Klein.
But if you know that you want to lead off with Porter anyway, then depending on how that affects your defense, you go ahead and do it.
Richard Hidalgo's on deck. Klein had a 1-2-3 inning on Sunday against the Rockies. 2 balls and a strike. He came in last Monday night against the Astros with the bases loaded, and he retired Jose Vizcaíno, the only man he faced.
Been a pretty reliable pitcher and very durable pitcher for the last 4 or 5 years.
It's 2-2. Klein pitched 78 times last year, working 63 innings. It's a full count on Lance Berkman.
Well, now you got that situation where you have to decide whether to run or not to run. Bagwell on second. I would guess that they will not run.
Big pitch coming with the Cardinals up by 4. Berkman to right center. Colin Porter all the way back, looking up. It's off the top of the bullpen wall. Bagwell scores. Kent to third. Gene Lamont sending him home. Late throw to the plate. Not in time. A 2-run double by Berkman makes it 5-3.
He still likes to look for Klein.
He was 5 for 7 in his career against Klein. That gives him a 3 RBI game. 15 runs batted in for the season. That's his 3rd double.
Now you got Hidalgo, the pitcher spot, probably lame in that assignment. Dan Osmus, right-handed batter. This guy, a switch hitter. I just don't see where the advantage was to have Klein keep pitching.
Well, you saw in that replay the hesitation by Womack on the throw. If he had turned loose of the ball right away, he might have been able to get Jeff
I
Kent.
didn't think they were going to have a chance to get him, but when I looked up, Kent wasn't as far along as I thought he would be.
Well, that's it for Klein, and Jason Isringhausen, the closer, is making his way in. A 5-3 Cardinal lead. Richard Hidalgo will be the batter with one out and a runner at second. Cardinals before tonight, their relievers had inherited 25 runners, only 9 had scored. Matt Morris with a pat for Klein. Morris will be starting tomorrow night's game against Tim Redding. Cardinal bullpen has 1 save and 3 save opportunities this season.
So now with the right-hander coming into the game, instead of having Jason Lane to pinch hit, you got Mike Lamb. The Cardinals do have another left-handed pitcher, Ray King. But once you get to your closer, I think and you're with 2 outs in the 8th inning, it's probably not inclined to go left-right because he's got to take the closer out of the game to do that.
Greg?
Monday, May 10th, get ready for the next great thing in sports entertainment as Max Kellerman comes to Fox Sports Net. Max won't pull any punches as he goes toe-to-toe with the biggest names in sports 5 nights a week. It's the premiere of IMAX. Monday, May 10, only on Fox Sports Net.
Well, some managers reserve their closer exclusively for the 9th inning, but Jason Isringhausen comes in here with an inning and 2/3 remaining to be pitched if the Cardinals close it out. He has 1 save and 1 opportunity, an ERA of 6.00 in 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, 4 walks. He's allowed 1 homer, and that was to Jeff Bagwell, a 3-run homer in St. Louis last week.
The Astros will have to do a little bit more hitting in this inning in order to get to the middle of the order again in the next inning. But they're close enough now where anytime there's a man on base, they can tie it.
Richard Hidalgo is 0 for 3. Ball 1 to Doggy.
Isringhausen came up as a prize prospect for the New York Mets. He was a starting pitcher in the minor leagues and in the early part of his big league career, but he really found a home as a closer in the last couple of years.
One ball and 1 strike. Hidalgo 0 for 3 in his career against this right-hander. Mike Lamb on deck. Pitcher's spot due up next. It's 1-2 on a 92-mile-per-hour delivery from Isringhausen.
A little cut action on that fastball, moving away from Richard.
Jason gave up a 3-run homer to Bagwell in the 9th inning last week. It was only his 3rd homer allowed since the end of the 2001 season. Nice stop by McKay. And a big curve in the dirt.
And he's got a good one. It's really surprising for a guy that was a position player as an amateur to become a pitcher after signing and have that good a curveball.
Hidalgo came into this game tied for the league lead in hits with 22. Isringhausen gets a strikeout.
Yeah, he's got him with that cutter. He didn't have good swings at it at all.
2 outs, and pinch hitter Mike Lamb will give it a try. Lamb's coming up with a .357 batting average. 5 hits and 14 at-bats for Mike. 1 homer and 4 runs batted in.
Sure would be nice to get Lance home and make it a 1-run game for the night.
Career .227 pinch hitter. 0 for 1 pinch hitting for the Astros this year. That one got by the catcher on a swing, and well, apparently it's a foul ball now. Workman went to third. The home plate umpire, Gary Cedarstrom, gave a late signal that the ball had been fouled. Workman's not leaving third base. And now the third base umpire, Jim Reynolds, indicates that he should return to where he started.
He may have been able to score on this.
I don't know if he caught that with the bat or not.
Well, the catcher might have been crossed up. The pitch was high and looked like he was looking for it to drop down in the dirt. I think the catcher was looking for a curveball and just boxed that pitch.
That's the way it looked. I don't think he fouled it. Sometimes the umpire hears a little sound and thinks it might have been a foul ball.
Well, all you can do really is guess, because there's just no way that the naked eye can see a ball barely tick the bat at 90 miles an hour.
1 ball, 1 strike. It's 1-2 to Mike Lamb with Osmus on deck. Tough pitch.
Done a better job against the left-handers this year.
And on the curve, he gets a strikeout. McKay scrambles for it and throws to first to get Lamb to complete the play. The Astros, though, make it a closer game with 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left. The 9th inning is next. St. Louis leads 5-3. Bulls have grabbed the lead, but the Astros have whacked half of it off. It was a 4-run lead. Now it's down to 2. On to the 9th inning, and the Astros call on their 5th hurler of the night. He is right-hander Dan Maselli, who worked in the Sunday 6-1 win over Milwaukee. Those are his numbers.
Yeah, he's really done a nice job this year. Good control, 8 innings, no walks. He's been throwing 93, 94 miles an hour. He's been getting left-handers out well.
Sure has. And he'll face a left-handed hitter. Former Astro Colin Porter leads it off now in the 9th inning. He just joined the Redbirds today when Jason Simontachi was sent down to the minor leagues. So it's his first plate appearance of the young season. And there's strike 1 to Porter. Porter was claimed on waivers by the Redbirds over the winter from the Astros. Collins, 28 years old. He had 32 at-bats with Houston last year. Hit 188, did not drive in a run. 4 balls, 2 strikes. Collins from Tucson. He went to the University of Arizona.
He's not a bad player at all. He's got some speed, not the real sheer base stealing speed, but good speed to play the outfield. Not a lot of power, but fundamentally sound as a player.
He was a team MVP for the New Orleans Zephyrs last year, hitting .320 with 11 homers and 50 runs batted in 356 at bats. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Cardinals have been a little short-handed as far as outfielders go, and they've been using Marlon Anderson as an outfielder with Ray Langford out. Langford not on the disabled list. He was used earlier tonight, announced as a pinch hitter. So they wanted to allow him time to nurse that injury, but get back quicker than 15 days. Ripped into right field. Hidalgo over. Porter takes the turn. That's a single. And a well-hit ball by Porter. That's hit number 9 for the Redbirds. Tony Womack has 2 of those hits. They've both been of the infield variety. You put both of them together, they wouldn't extend as far as where Jose Vizcaíno is standing right now on the grass. Cardinals might want to do some running here. So Taguchi is on deck.
And Maselli is pretty slow to the plate ordinarily.
Ball 1 on Womack.
That was a little quicker. Most pitchers that come to a set position down low around the waist take a little bit longer to unload the pitch than the guys that come set higher.
Womack shows bunt. Third baseman in. He takes ball 2. 2-0 to Tony Womack. Boston beat Toronto tonight at Skydome, 4-2 the final. Pedro Martinez got his second win. 3 balls and no strikes. Halladay was the loser. He's 1-3 now. Keith Folk picked up his 4th save. Good movement there for Maselli, and he has a 3-1 count. Kansas City walloped Cleveland 15-5. Ball 4 gives the Cardinals 2 on and nobody out. That's the 4th walk for Houston pitching. Bert Hooton's coming to the mound. So Taguchi will be headed for the batter's box.
Octavio Dotel was warming up in the last inning in case the Astros were able to get a lead, but there's nobody out there now. You would think with Bert going to the mound that might be to get some time for somebody to get loose, but there's no indication of that yet.
And now Ricky Stone just got up while you were saying that.
But Maselli, I think, is a little upset that he didn't get a couple of corner calls in that last sequence of pitches. Sometimes if a guy is a little out of sorts, it helps to go out there and make him stop for a little while and start over again.
Stone's working there while Taguchi steps in.
As was expecting the bunt, Bagwell is way in, and now he's charging further in.
It's bunted foul. Never really got that bat out in front of home plate.
Not at all. You would expect a guy that's a defensive outfielder and a speed player to be a good bunter, but he certainly didn't look like a good bunter on that first try.
He looked surprised. Now he squares early. He gets it down. Bagwell over. And he throws to Jeff Kent covering. The sacrifice for Taguchi advances the runners to second and third. 1 out. That's well done. That time he looked prepared. Albert Pujols ripped that homer in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 4. First base open here and 1 out.
Well, if you consider this to be the game, you might walk him and try to get a double play.
That's what they'll do.
A very fine hitter. Although at this stage, I don't think he's quite the hitter that Pujols is.
That's a good point. And as you mentioned, Maselli's had good success this year with left-handed batters. Sets up a force at any base. Pujols 1 for 2, a homer off this right-hander.
That's a very good point too about a force at any base, because once you get the bases loaded, you don't necessarily have to get the double play. If it's a ball that's just chopped on the infield, you can go home and get a force rather than having to make a tag play. And the Cardinals runner at third, Porter, has got some speed, so it gives you the potential double play on a sharply hit ball and the force at the plate on a ball that's hit on the ground and not hit hard. But what it doesn't give you is the latitude to really work tough to Edmonds, because you can't afford to walk him.
Edmonds did walk in the 8th inning. He's 0 for 3. Scott Rowland's on deck. Edmonds pops it up. Berkman over. Out of play. The wind might have worked it back a little bit.
Sometimes it does. It's hard to anticipate what will happen on a high fly ball here on a windy day, and it has been pretty windy today.
Baltimore knocked off Tampa Bay 9-1. The Orioles are 8-4. Sidney Ponson had a complete game 4-hitter. The Astros in the bottom of the ninth have Osmus, Vizcaino, and Biggio due up. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Cardinals are trying to snap their 4-game losing streak in this ballpark.
Bagwell's been really close at first base, and he did swing. A 1-2 the count now. I think that for a first baseman that had a good throwing arm, you could play a little bit deeper, have a better chance on the double play going second to first, and still have enough to get the force play at home on a slowly hit ball. With Jeff throwing the ball the way he is now, he's got to get to a point where he can get the force out at home on a slowly hit ball.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Larry.
You give up a little coverage by moving in, but from where he is now, he can get a double play from home to first probably more easily than he could get it second to first.
He fouls it away. Still a ball and 2 strikes. He's really had to readjust his thinking about how he plays first base.
I know it really bothers him too, because he takes such pride in his defense, and he's been an excellent first baseman throughout his career. And you don't need a great arm to play first, but he would like to be able to at least throw the way he used to. He never had a great arm, but he had enough.
Swing and a miss by Edmonds, and a strikeout for Maselli. Takes care of out number 2.
Well, let's see how Maselli worked him this time. Started out with a fastball challenge. He got a strike. Slider. The forkball, and called him on that swing. Another fastball foul. Another forkball. The forkball, or split finger, whatever Maselli calls it, has been a big pitch for him, and it's one he's only come up with recently.
Scott Rowland bats. He has a double in 4 trips. Fouls that one for strike 1.
Maselli throwing 94 miles an hour with that kind of fastball. The split can be very effective. Just ask Mike Scott. You know, you look at that pitch and it doesn't have breaking ball spin on it, so you can easily think it's a fastball until it starts dropping.
Fouled away. Fired that fastball at 94, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Rowland.
And then if you're on deck like Rowland and you look at that split finger dropping and Edmonds chasing it, you're probably thinking, I don't want to commit too soon on a split finger down low, and so Maselli goes to the fastball, and Rowland's been swinging late.
This is key for the Astros, who trail by 2. If they're to have a good shot at coming back in the bottom of the ninth. Must have been a rain delay for the White Sox and Yankees in Chicago. It's only in the 5th inning. Yankees leading at 8-5. They had a 7-run first tonight.
Rockies have the Dodgers down 7-1. The Dodgers were the only team in the National League coming into play today with a better record than the Astros. Oh boy, that was a good stop by Osmus. I don't know if it was good or just lucky, because that looked like a ball that could get by him and allow that run to score.
One ball and 2 strikes. And Rowland strikes out. Dan Maselli under pressure delivers. No runs a hit. 3 men stranded for the Cardinals. The Astros come up now in the bottom of the ninth, trailing St. Louis 5-3. It's a 5-3 lead for the Cardinals. Bottom of the ninth coming. Our X factor of the game, Jeff Suppan on the mound, and he is trying to beat the Astros for the second time in his career. He gave up just 1 run in 6 innings. And he used his sturdy third baseman Scott Rowland for some of those outs tonight.
Kept his fastball out of the middle of the strike zone throughout the game, and that diffused the Astros' power.
Now Jason Isringhausen trying to save it for Suppan. Faces Brad Ausmus. Jose Vizcaino on deck. Craig Biggio due up third in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ausmus is 0 for 3. He lifts it out of play for strike 1. Steve Klein faced just 1 batter. Lance Berkman gave up a double to him. Mike Lincoln, an inning and a third, allowed 1 hit, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, with no walks or strikeouts. Cardinals are warming up a right-hander in their pen right now. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's Julian Tavares warming up for St. Louis. Cardinals, because of days off, are skipping their 5th starter in this series, Chris Carpenter. So he is available for long relief should they need any help. Ausmus fouls it away, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
How do you think the defense for the Cardinals is different right now than it would be if it was 5-4 instead of 5-3?
Well, you would think they'd be a little bit deeper.
I think they'd be guarding the lines. They aren't even doing anything resembling guarding the lines here. They've got both the first and third baseman way off the line. But right now they don't need to guard against an extra base hit. They just need to guard against any kind of hit.
Ausmus strikes out. Now to the studio.
Sports Report after the game. We're right back out to Minute Maid for all your post-game coverage.
We'll talk plenty of NFL draft, get you ready for the Texans' 10th pick, and the Rockets getting ready for the Lakers' Game 3. All that and more right after the game, guys.
5-3 ball game here. Jose Vizcaino, the batter. He grounded out in the 7th inning. Craig Biggio on deck. Vizcaino's mission to reach base, get potential tying run to the plate. There's ball 1.
At this point, it would be a moral victory just to get the ball in play. Isringhausen's faced 3 batters and struck them all out. Those moral victories are not important at this stage.
1 ball, 1 strike.
But you got Biggio, who's got some power up next. Then Everett, who doesn't have too much power. But then Bagwell, so you just need to try to find a way to get a base runner.
1-2.
Still throws pretty hard for a guy that's had a lot of arm trouble.
Yes, he does. 32 years old in September. And it goes foul. He opened the season last year on the disabled list, and before he came back in mid-June, the Cardinals played 18 one-run games. They lost 14 of those. He's had 4 straight years with 20 saves or more. 131 career saves for Isringhausen. Chop over the mound. Renteria can't pick it up on a bare hand try. Vizcaino is on with an infield single. Hit number 8 for the Astros.
Now the Astros bring the tying run to the plate. Curveball was up a little bit, but still had some bite to it. Vizcaino chopped down on it.
Biggio batting 0 for 4. Everett on deck. Tavares has sat down in the Cardinal bullpen. Isringhausen is the man. Ball 1 to Biggio. Isringhausen has 7 career saves against the Astros, but a high career ERA against them.
Oh, he had a pitch to hit out.
Scott Rowland comes over. 2 outs. Now it's Everett. He's 2 for 3 with a walk.
Bagwell is 5 for 11 with a home run against Isringhausen, and he's on deck.
The Reds won their game over Atlanta 3-2. They are now 8-5. Here's ball 1. Cubs with their win go to 8-6. One ball and 1 strike. The Astros hit .324 in the 3 games at St. Louis, scoring 26 runs. Cardinals pitchers have held them to 3 runs so far tonight. One and 2 to Everett. Cardinals could be a pitch away from squaring their record at 7-7 in the tightly bunched NL Central. Up the middle, and tough play here. Womack makes the play, stepping on second. Difficult play to the backhand side, but Tony Womack was there to turn it into a force play on Vizcaíno and end the ball game with a Cardinal victory. Albert Pujols' 2-run homer in the 6th snapped a 1-1 tie. The Cardinals went on to a 2-run 7th as well, and they held off the Astros. Final score: Cardinals 5, Astros 3. Back with more from the ballpark in just a moment. First, we go to the studio for the Southwest Sports Report.